me! I need a medic! I'll fix you, soldier!
Straight beast mode, son.
Bargain, help me! Placing charges! They stunned me! I need a medic!
Yo. Yo.
Help me, someone! You gotta help me!
Yo.
Blood! Everywhere! Fucking help me!
Objective easy is now ours.
Objective now!
Gotta go turn on a fan.
Beware when we are losing objective easy.
Whoa.
Objective easy lost.
after this.
Let me know he's laying down over there.
Soldiers, we have lost objective Baker. Fine work. Objective George is ours.
Oh, you're shooting that our plane while the enemy just flew right past us, dude.
Hold still. I got you. Keep smiling. Others are coming. Over there, Steve. Be careful.
We have lost objective Dog.
Objective is lost to the enemy.
We have taken objective Easy. Good job. We have taken objective Able. Objective Dog is now ours, soldiers. Well done. We have taken Stay alert. Objective Charlie is lost. Soldiers, we have lost objective George. We have now taken objective Baker.
The squad requires an anti-tank vehicle.
Understand, your vehicle is available.
Got tank Horse shit. Back in.
Right there.
Now, I'll get him. Never mind.
Roger, that vehicle's on its way to you. Attention, we have now taken objective Baker.
Watch out, B1 coming. I got him. I blew up the tank with some good old TNT.
I'm bugging! Help me!
You blew up my TNT when I blew it. That was dope.
Alright, I figured out the hotkey to talk to.
Yeah, I'm surprised you can even
You almost have us. Raise your game.
Oh yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what the fucking button was there for a while.
Charlie lost.
That's okay. Haven't been on in a while.
Not me either.
Really good though.
Let's storm up in here to D and take it.
We have taken objective George.
Alright, I got that gun over on the other side, and we got this. Let's go straight across.
Dude jumped off to our left. Getting out.
Stay safe and I'll spawn on you.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, give me a sniper.
Hold on.
Damn, good game.
Yeah, nice try, bro.
Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap and I'm playing Battlefield 5 in 4K with ray tracing and for the first time DLSS enabled. But first up, a big thank you to Nvidia and Scan Computers for helping make this video possible by providing an RTX 2080 Ti graphics card, which I'm using to benchmark Battlefield 5. But with that said, I do want to make absolutely 100% clear that all my opinions are my own. So with that said, let's take a look at DLSS. So I think we were all initially pretty excited about ray tracing in games like BF5, but then we saw the performance hit. A few updates have improved things, but really we've been waiting for DLSS, Nvidia's all-new deep learning super sampling technology. According to Nvidia, DLSS uses deep learning and AI to improve game performance while maintaining visual quality. Okay, that's pretty vague. So technically what's going on is it's rendering the game at a resolution beyond what your monitor can support, which smooths out edges and effectively works as anti-aliasing. Now normally, supersampling would take a huge toll on your system and destroy your frame rate. But this DLSS is all done by Nvidia on their crazy awesome supercomputers, with their AI learning how to match a low-res, jaggy-looking version of the game to a crisp and high-res original truth. And with all the numbers crunched, the AI learning can then be saved, and then you can download it through game patches and NVIDIA drivers. So let's cut to the chase. What kind of difference does DLSS make to your frame rate in Battlefield 5? Let's start with the control. At 4K with ultra settings and no RTX features enabled, I got an average of 72 FPS. Now turning on just ray tracing, set to ultra quality, the average FPS drops to 38. But now let me show you what happens when I enable DLSS with ray tracing and the average frame rate jumps up to 57. That's a 40% difference, and actually let me show you what happens when I enable DLSS with ray tracing and the average frame rate jumps up to 57. But now the average FPS drops to 38. But now let me show you what happens when I enable DLSS with ray tracing and the average frame rate jumps up to 57. Let me show you what happens when I enable DLSS with ray tracing and the average frame rate jumps up to 57. That's a 40% difference and actually bang on what Nvidia were claiming. These numbers I've recorded are on average taken across 3 multiplayer and 3 single-player games. Nvidia do say that DLSS works best at higher resolutions like 4K and that we shouldn't expect quite the same boost at 1440p. But I wanted to test it anyway, and we go from an average of 122 with RTX turned off to 68 with ray tracing and then 83 with ray tracing and DLSS. So that's a 20% difference at 1440p. Not as significant as 4K then, but still a good deal better. So that's all great, but there is a compromise with DLSS. Despite Nvidia saying it should maintain visual quality when enabled, the image is a fair bit softer. Zooming in by 5 times, even though these are both at 4K, you can see a noticeable difference in sharpness. Now to be fair, Battlefield 5 has been the first game to offer ray tracing and now DLSS support, so it's the first game using new tech. And Nvidia do say that performance and image quality will improve across all resolutions and all RTX cards as their supercomputer continues to train the AI. But for now, while DLSS definitely does offer a performance boost with ray tracing enabled, you are getting a softer image. Still, it's good to have the option, and with an RTX 2080 Ti, you are close to getting an average of 60 FPS with ray tracing and DLSS. So if you have a 60Hz 4K monitor, that would make sense to use. So that's Battlefield 5, but make sure you do subscribe and stay tuned as I'll be testing Nvidia's full graphics card lineup in other RTX enabled games, including Metro Exodus and Anthem, a game that will offer only DLSS but not ray tracing. But let me know what you make of ray tracing and DLSS in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching guys, hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.
Hello there. Are you sleeping on a Nectar mattress or are you sleeping on a piece of garbage? Not sure? Simply ask your brain. Research proves that a lack of sleep lowers brain functions, so if you're stressed, losing focus, gaining weight, or acting like a total schmuck, you might need to switch to Nectar. I know what you're thinking.
Well, guys, it's only been 6 months since, our learn go. We had demos of last year when we were at PAX. That's not even using full ray tracing reflections. It's using ray tracing for global illumination. It's using that to try and ray trace the lights. and make the lighting more realistic, like an HBO on steroids, basically. Then we have Battlefield 5, which launched with DXR, and then DLSS came much later, which is kind of like right now. So we're going to go ahead and do some live testing on this. We are using a 4K panel and a 2080 Ti. Now I've got a huge rant I'm going to talk about. In fact, we'll just get in here right now and show you so you can see it firsthand. So you have to have the latest NVIDIA driver installed to take advantage of this. I think it's 418.91 or something like that. Whatever the latest driver is, at least February 13th or later, should have these new features. Plus it's a 20 gigabyte update for Battlefield 5. Anyway, if we take a look at some settings here, you're going to notice some differences. So if we basic, of course, this is all pretty much the same, unchanged. Go to advanced. Now you've got this NVIDIA DLSS. Now the problem is this, and this is the start of my rant, is tied into DXR. So if you disable DXR, you lose DLSS. Now Phil and I were talking about this a little bit offline, and we think that DLSS falls under some sort of a tool set that's a part of those DXR features. Obviously you need DX12 enabled as well. So I would love for someone from NVIDIA to chime in as to why DXR needs to be on for DLSS to work. We just can't figure out why that feature has to be enabled, other than NVIDIA is just really forcing you to enable DXR. My problem with this is the thing I was looking forward to most since last September, when all of this was announced, or was it August? It was like August something, right? Crap. I wanted to take advantage of an improved super sampling. The biggest hit you can take to any post-processing is anti-aliasing and super sampling. Those are the two things that can give you the biggest impact in your performance. And my thought was like, screw DXR. If I don't care about that, but I just want the improvement of having those 500 and some odd tensor cores in the 2080 Ti doing something, then we can enable it, get the improvement, and then we don't have to worry about DXR. But it's tied in now. So now you're forced to take the initial hit of DXR. And even though the scene is improved with DLSS on, as you will see, it's nowhere near what it is with those features off entirely. So it's just really disappointing. DXR is on right now. We are running 4K, and DLSS is currently on. So this is a static image. Let me go here where we can see a little bit more in the distance. So yeah, 64, 65. Okay, so obviously 62 to 65 plus minus 3. So now if we go in here and we just disable DLSS, or the deep learning super sampling, watch what happens to our FPS. So there's definitely an improvement here. I mean, quite a bit. From 48 to 65, looks like we're hovering more so around 51, 49. I mean, I wouldn't consider this very playable. All right, so it's pretty obvious that DLSS is doing something. I just kind of wish it was doing something with DXR off. See, as soon as we go 1080, watch this. DLSS is off. But the thing is, apparently the 2060 or whatever, like the other cards other than a 2080 Ti are able to do it. Well, we have the 2060 installed now, which is a $350 mid-range, mid-high-end range card. But like I just said, the 1080p DLSS does work with that card, as you can see, which has me going again, NVIDIA, please answer the question. Why can't you do it with the 2080 Ti? Why not give it to this card? I don't understand why that is. It's obvious that they can do it at the resolution because of the 2060. Okay, so 2060 now, same settings as we cut off with, or took the 2080 Ti off. Everything in Ultra, medium on DXR ray trace, and then Ultra still in FX amount. This card I don't feel like was ever really intended for Ultra everything, but as you can see right now, with ray tracing and stuff on, I mean, this is actually not terrible. Now the sad part is this card was getting like 110, 120 FPS in Battlefield 5 with DXR off. We're getting about the same FPS as we were with the 2080 Ti. Oh God! We're getting roughly the same FPS in 1080p as we were getting with the 2080 Ti in 4K, a couple of FPS higher than that. But if we go ahead and disable DLSS now, not nearly as much a performance hit. Do you see this? So as you can see in multiplayer though, obviously the FPS is higher. We talked about this in our previous video about ray tracing, is the fact that they've prioritized the frame rates for multiplayer because that's obviously more important. And as such, we are getting in 1080p in Battlefield 5 with ray tracing on. All right, so this is DLSS off. We're getting currently 57 to 60 FPS So you can see a lot of the detail here just really got fuzzy. You see this? Look how fuzzy all of this is. Okay, so a little cutaway here. We decided to do a little more digging while we were editing this video. Well, Phil specifically, so he gets all the credit on this. He found on the forums and Reddit that ultra-wide was scaling terribly with DLSS. So we showed you how the 1080 on the 2060 was very fuzzy. On the ultra-wide, it was even worse. The moment you enable DLSS, it just goes like completely through a fog filter. It just looks smudged and smeared. What we also found on the forums was that if you were to just disable DLSS, and just take your resolution scale and drop it down to 80%, you get back all of the sharpness. You can't even tell that we're running at 80%, and you get back all the performance that you would have lost by not turning on DLSS. This feature sucks. Now, one other thing that we just noticed here is that you can only enable DLSS with the native aspect ratio. So you can't drop down to a 1440 and have black bar on the sides with DLSS enabled. It only will enable the option if you're running in the native aspect ratio. So we put the 2080 Ti back in because we realized, like, well, I didn't do multiplayer testing with the 2080 Ti. Plus, we wanted to know if the scaling looked as poor. But if you look at the textures and stuff, like right here, I mean, everything looks good. So, okay, so the FPS though, if we look at, remember we are playing, People always say, why is Jay stuck? Because I'm actually playing on my account now and I have my loadout.
Not exploded yet.
Yay!
Yeah!
Over the
Fade away.
over the bushes. I mean, it's pretty impressive, regardless of the rant I'm about to give, that we can play 4K multiplayer with DXR on, with DLSS, and looking out the distance here, getting almost 100 FPS. All right, so it's pretty obvious why the 2060 and the 2070 get 1080p DXR with DLSS, whereas the 2080, 2080 Ti and the Titan get 1440 and up only. The 1080 looked pretty bad, so we're hoping that the DLSS will improve. Here's the bottom line. I'm really just concerned about the fact that this feels a lot like when you go into a dealership and you go to buy a car and you're like, I want the HID headlights. Well, sir, that comes in the premium package, and in that you get the headlights and the leather steering wheel, the heated steering wheel, the leather interior, the chilled cup holders, the wine chiller in the back, you know, all the things you don't care about. I just want the headlights. But you don't get it if you don't buy the package. And unfortunately, I feel like, and I hope I'm wrong about this, I have no doubt NVIDIA will probably reach out after seeing this, but I feel like they're forcing you to turn on DXR because they know people like me are gonna only use DLSS and not care about DXR. Look, I feel like the honeymoon period is over. I feel like 6 months has gone by. A lot of people were the ooh and ah, and Phil and I were talking about this. When we did our video about ray tracing, real-time ray tracing and RTX, I was one of the few people that was like, I am a nerd. I love the advancement in technologies. I love the fact that we can have real-time ray tracing, which is something that didn't seem possible in terms of gaming. So we were in this honeymoon period of like, this is so cool. Do people not get it? Do they not understand what they're getting? Well, that's kind of worn off because here we are 6 months later, and the whole thing I was looking forward to the whole time, which I said from day one is DLSS. Screw ray tracing, just give me DLSS. They're forcing it on and down your throat, I think, because I think they know most people just won't enable it. When I play Battlefield 5 with my friends and we squad up, it's not on. I turn it on sometimes in single player, but I've completed the campaign, so there's no point anymore. I don't go back and play it. So it stays off in real time, and I can tell you now, even in Skunkworks, it's gonna stay off full time. Because DLSS at this point, it's just not worth it. And so for me, the honeymoon period is kind of over, and I'm kind of done with it. I get it, real-time ray tracing, it's here. I just still have to give this a big fat, like, I don't see the point in running out and buying it, if you wanna know the truth. You have no choice. Pretty much. Pascal cards have kind of gone through the roof in terms of pricing because they don't make them anymore, so availability continues to go down, so third parties are raking in the dough by raising the prices on those, which means eventually you'll have no choice but to buy this if you're going to buy a new card, if you're stuck buying a new card, if you don't buy an AMD card, that is. And then at the end of the day, everyone will have RTX cards or ray trace enabled cards, or whether AMD comes out with one or not in the future, because eventually this will be all that you can buy. Then game developers might catch up. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, over it. I'm kind of whatever. DXR is going to stay off, which means I'm not going to get DLSS, which means features that you've paid for. Tensor cores and RT cores. You have two choices. Take the hit, which is massive, or don't turn on the features you paid for. NVIDIA 2019.
You could take the treatment of your ulcerative colitis in a different direction. Talk to your doctor about Xeljanz, a pill, not an injection or infusion, for adults with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. Xeljanz is the first and only FDA-approved pill for moderate to severe UC. It can reduce symptoms in as early as 2 weeks, improve the appearance of the intestinal lining, and provide lasting steroid-free remission. Xeljanz can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have tears in the stomach or intestines, serious allergic reactions, low blood cell counts, higher liver tests, and cholesterol levels. Don't start Xeljanz if you have an infection. Your doctor should perform blood tests before and while taking Xeljanz and monitor certain liver tests. Tell your doctor if you've been somewhere fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. You could take your UC treatment in a different direction. Ask your gastroenterologist about Xeljanz.